Entertainment Weekly just released photos, exclusive photos, and their final print cover. They're actually going all digital. So this is the final print cover they're ever going to release. And it's all about the upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Let's take a look at the pictures. Let's discuss the wants and wishes of this show. Obviously, Ewan McGregor is back, but we also see a photo of Uncle Owen, played by Joel Edgerton. And we see what is described as a fearsome new villain in the form of a relentless inquisitor named Reva, or Reva? I'm guessing it's Reva. I'm probably wrong. Played by the Queen Gambit's Moses Ingram, which is a great show. The Queen's Gambit. It's a wonderful show. If you want to see Moses Ingram in something before you watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, please watch The Queen's Gambit. It's fantastic. Anyway, what kind of Obi-Wan Kenobi will we meet in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Ewan McGregor says, quote, "We find Obi-Wan at the beginning of our story rather broken and faithless and beaten, somewhat given up." Close quote. I love that. That's exactly what I'm hoping a lot of the show is. I really... my biggest fear is that it's going to be milquetoast. It's going to be a big, shrug of the shoulders, kind of like the Book of Boba Fett was to me. The Book of Boba Fett was just a big nothing. Obviously it had amazing moments. It had some really great moments, but when I look back on that show, it was just it was okay. It was very forgettable in my opinion. And I hope the Obi-Wan Kenobi show dives into that idea of Obi-Wan Kenobi being broken and faithless and given up. This man who... his entire worldview has come crumbling down. Everything he knew and loved and built is gone. His best buddy has flipped. So I love that. And then we see an image of Reva, or Reva, however it's pronounced, as the Force-sensitive Inquisitor. And as most of you guys will know, Inquisitors hunt Jedi. They're basically Jedi hunters. Very prominent after the fall of the Jedi Order. And this character has been described by Deborah Chow and Joby Harold, director and writer of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, as ruthlessly ambitious. And then the next image that we see, which is probably my favorite image here, in this cave, in this sparse dwelling on Tatooine, as it's described, where he has set up shop to watch over a young Luke Skywalker. That's what the description of this is. I think this image, more than any other that has been released, kind of, hints at exactly what I'm wanting. For me, the idea of an Obi-Wan Kenobi show, my perfect Obi-Wan Kenobi show, is more character study. Getting inside of Obi-Wan Kenobi's head rather than getting inside of his lightsaber. I think that's where the meat and potatoes, that's where the interesting artistic kind of look at this character could happen. Less action, less craziness, more character study, more introspection. Again, this man, his entire constitution, his entire view of existence has been turned on its head. And I think that would be incredibly interesting to dive into as a character study. Here's a good profile shot of Moses Ingram as Reva. And then we see Uncle Owen and the Inquisitor, Reva, face to face. I'm sure there's going to be some confrontation. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hiding under the floorboards with Luke, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be the case. I'm really curious how this is all going to feed into A New Hope. There's a very openness to A New Hope. Luke doesn't feel like a restricted character to me in terms of in universe. If you had a bunch of people, an entire empire hunting and looking for this child on a place like Tatooine, you would think they would continuously just keep him hidden in isolation almost, but you never got that sense in A New Hope. And I'm really curious if in this show, Luke Skywalker is going to be a little more restricted when it comes to his movements. Maybe he's restricted to the Lars homestead, if that makes sense. I don't know what they're going to do with it. It's interesting, the juxtaposition of what we know of A New Hope, Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi. There's a very wistful sense to that relationship, and it just there's this old hermit that lives in the desert there, and then there's Luke Skywalker, who's a kid. Back then, obviously, you never got the sense that Obi-Wan Kenobi was looking after this kid, but through the scaffolding of story over the years, that canon has been written on top of what came before, and I'm curious how they're going to play that. It'll be interesting to watch. We see an image of cloaked Obi-Wan Kenobi on a new planet called Daiyu. I don't know how it's pronounced, Daiu, which is described to have sort of a Hong Kong feel. It's got graffiti-ridden nightlife and is kind of edgy. It's just got a different lane and a different feeling as it's described. So, yeah, I don't know what to expect with that. Could be cool. I mean, we've seen that kind of stuff even in like Attack of the Clones, Death Stick scene, I suppose. All that's kind of the Coruscant city life, the nightlife, and then maybe even with like cyberpunk kids from Book of Boba Fett, maybe that will have a similar vibe too. But yeah, I'm excited for this location, especially after playing The Ascent, which is a really fun game. So yeah, those are the images that have been released. I'm really excited. I hope they spend a lot of time with Obi-Wan and his mind, and less time on build up to action and action and action. Because I think, for me at least, the most interesting thing that they could do with this show is make the Obi-Wan Kenobi show a deep character study about a man whose entire worldview has come crumbling down. And I hope they don't just focus on that in just one episode and throw it away, and then he's like a man on a mission, you know what I mean? Stick with it. Something is interesting to explore there. You know, as I said, spend some time in his brain, not just on his lightsaber. So yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section below. Cheers. Have a good one, guys. HelloGreedo. Out.